Hello there, it's Mike.
And Katie.
And we're on episode 107. What are we listening today?
Apparently it's super, intense.
We have wine tonight in our cups.
Fancying a cup of bread. Sorry. And we're back. Today, whenever you're listening to us, it's Christmas with the Muppets and more.
On Cup of Red. Hello there. We're back after that little sassy intro. It's our jazzy moment as we sit here with our wine. The reason why we're drinking wine tonight is because we had to drink it before we had to get rid of it. It's a free bottle of wine that we got, so free wine's pretty damn good.
Well, we opened it because we needed to do some cooking. It recalled for some wine, and I found it in the pantry, and I was like, oh, well, let's use this. And then, well, we can't dump it down the drain because that's just ridiculous. So we're drinking
some wine.
Dessert wine.
Yes.
It is so sweet. Oh, my goodness.
That's right.
But it's much better without food, honestly. So, I mean, it's dangerous just to have it all by itself.
It's like juice, but, not.
But, with alcohol. It's juice with benefits. Yes.
There you go.
I love that term. Anything with benefits. I love the term.
Right on.
Anyways.
Right now you're on a podcast with benefits.
Yes, look at that.
For your ear holes.
See? Oh, they already knew it was a podcast with benefits. Come on. So, Mike, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. It's December, fully December.
It is December.
Oh, my goodness.
So, guess what? Another Christmas episode.
Yeah, because I know you were missing those.
Right?
It's like, oh, where's my cup of red Christmas?
Exactly. We're going full hog this year.
Can we have a Cup of Red, Christmas album, like Spidey Bells? Because that song plays the most on our Christmas playlist.
I guess if we could write something. Cup of red, cup of red.
Oh, so...
deep inside your ears. It's Christmas time and here we are, blowing out your ears. Cup of red, always singing off key. Don't you wish you had us right there on your knee? Ooh.
Wow. Kudos. Clapping. Yay. I'm impressed that you
Podcast
literally
with benefits
made that up right now. So we, this morning, Cable Box has this Christmas app thing on it. And it has weird, one of the weird features was a Christmas karaoke. And so we turned that on this morning.
That was painful.
That was painful, and it was hilarious. We were squawking away, singing Christmas carols. It's good times. The cats were a little unnerved.
Yeah. They definitely were not happy with that.
No, because a few of them, you're like, oh yeah, I know the song. Okay, I can play it. We Wish You a Merry Christmas, even though it went on forever. And then some of the others where you're like, I don't know.
Well, there were different versions, right?
Yeah, not the
one
classic ones,
country version of something.
Yeah, and then it's you don't hear it and you don't know the beat in the background. And yeah, so had a lot of singing going on. I had originally recorded a Disney holiday sing-along thing because I was curious what it was. And I thought, you know what, I'll just have it on the background when I was doing something else. And then it was slightly strange. They want you to have a sing-along to it. And yet what my complaint is opposed to karaoke where you see like we had it where you see the next line so you know what have beat. No, it's like the bouncing sing-alongs, but it didn't give you enough warning of the next one. So
follow the bouncing snowman.
Yeah, I know, right? It didn't have
Olaf?
That. No, there was no bouncing snowman. It just showed up on the bottom on a ribbon. It was fancy sing-along. Listen.
Oh.
And
bougie.
my most complaint was there was a gentleman singing, What's This? And I know this, I can sing the song generally, but sometimes the harder thing is singing it with someone, I know the beat of the actual movie and I can sing that along, but then with him, you never quite know what he was going to do, but then it only would show you what he was actually singing, and then to the gap between the next line, and you never knew when he was going to start. So then it's such a fast song that you would get off.
Jack? That doesn't make any sense. What? Jack, this isn't fair.
No.
Oh.
But it's just he was just it was hard to see what he was going to say next and when he was going to say it. That was my complaint. There's my complaint about the Disney sing-along. me and Kiddo were trying to sing along with it. We were all excited. It was the one thing I was going to sing along with, and I'm like, this is really hard.
It's on Disney Plus if you want to check it out.
Yeah. And let me know if the opening Michael Bublé sequence felt like an SNL skit to you, because that's what it felt like to me. And it made it better for that reason. But, yeah.
Speaking of Disney Plus,
Yeah.
Mando Friday.
Mando Friday.
How was that for you?
Holy shit.
Yep.
That's my review.
It was an intense episode, and I just can't believe they keep getting more and more. Like, it's one of those ones where it's like, when's the next episode? And we're down to the last 2 for this season. So,
Well, because during this one, like, both of us were like, kept looking at it like, oh my God, that just happened? Like, oh my God, what?
Oh my God. So,
this keeps getting better.
I can't wait till it's over so we can like totally talk about it. You know, we probably could talk about it, but then maybe
we could, but
at the same time, just in case, you know, there's people that were waiting a bit.
You know what? That's your cup of rad benefit, not spoiling the crap out of things.
Sometimes.
But we tell you in forewarning, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to do it. But, you know, we'll let you have this.
We'll wait on this one. Maybe in the new year we'll just talk about. Yeah,
because I mean, by the time it's done, we're not going to have the ability to talk about it for Christmas. We'll have to wait at least a little while in case people can't finish it. So yeah, it'll be a New Year's.
Finish it on the 18th. You should be able to finish it. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Get your shit together.
2 sips of wine.
Christmas cannot happen until Mando is done.
There you go.
Just keep that in mind. You got plenty of time. Days. You're good.
Speaking more Disney, we watched some more DuckTales. So the sad news that it's actually coming to an end.
Sad news.
It's weird because some things you see, it's more based around possibly the creators knew it wasn't going to go on much longer. Then there's also like all of the other stuff about, you know, things don't go past 4 anymore because, you know, licensing and monies and whatnot. And so it's definitely strange. Or also with like the Rogan Darkwing reboot as well. So, but don't let that deter you from watching a fantastic series if you haven't already started it. The first couple of seasons are Disney Plus. Season 3 is on XD. So
I love every episode. Like this one was great. It was their first adventure
with Della and Donald.
Yeah. So you get that you find out how they came to be with Scrooge and some of his, you know, how he got to kind of get into the adventuring life. Yeah. And their connection between.
We got to see actually how topical the episode really is.
Yeah.
How it actually was speaking directly to how our world is being controlled by one evil organization.
Yeah, who are not actually supervillains, but out to just
rule the world
by keeping apparent, you know, order.
Yeah.
And not liking chaos.
Yeah.
But then creating it while they're trying to control it because, oh, wait, we can't control everything.
The more you squeeze, more systems will fall through your grip.
There you go.
So, keeping on the Christmas trend, we did watch a whole bunch of Muppet movies, but we're going to talk about some other things we watched before to keep you in anticipation.
What about TV? We
have more TV? Netflix, yes.
Big Mouth.
Big Mouth came back. That's right.
Jumping ahead.
I got too excited.
Pump the brakes on the Christmas for a moment.
Too excited for Christmas. It was all like, Christmas!
Like, no, we're going to go back to puberty. Vulgar, horrible puberty.
So season 4 of Big Mouth has hit. Yeah. We've only watched 3 episodes. For me, those first 3 episodes, there's a bit of a shift. Mm-hmm. And it's not a bad shift. It felt a little bit more dramatic almost, but yet a little more vulgar.
Yes.
Right? It was kind of strange. Like,
well, because they kind of pushed each one of the jokes went a little farther, you know, than they really needed to. Mm-hmm. A little bit more gross factor.
Yeah, a little bit more.
I mean, at the same time, it kind of makes sense. There's some just gross things about what, you know, apparently boys are nasty. When you guys hit puberty, you guys go freaking nuts. Just flinging your things everywhere and just, I don't know. We just go all bitchy. We just hate everything.
Thick hogs.
Yeah, we just hate everything.
Who out there is a TH?
It's so horrible.
Raise your hand wherever you at.
Oh.
If you're a TH, according to Seth Rogen. Thick hogs.
You know what? I assume because you guys are just guys, you all will raise your hands. Because I don't believe a single man out there to be like, nah, I'm not going to raise my hand.
Who's a TH?
I expect you all to raise your hands.
Raise your hand wherever you at and take a selfie and send it to Cup of Rad. If you're a TH, you'd be a thick hog.
Oh, goodness. Anyways, off of that. My favorite so far is I like the anxiety mosquitoes.
Yes.
I thought that was a really, because I love how they've used all those different emotions for things and really gotten a visual sense of that feeling.
The Shame Wizard, Depression Kitty.
Yeah. Depression Kitty is fabulous.
And now the Anxiety
Mosquito was just such a great interpretation of it, of the fact that it's just all around surrounding.
Buzzing,
irritating, just always there.
With its hateful words.
Yeah, all the things it was saying that was just so horrible. And not helpful, and I thought that was really good.
Yeah, no. It's, as I say, like it. I'm really curious to see where the season's going. Like, as much as it didn't feel as like hilarity, because the hormone monsters themselves were really like railed in those first few episodes.
Well, in general, they've kind of taken a step back. Right?
It's just been kind of interesting. So, you're getting more character development, especially with like Missy. She's changing because her hormone monstress has taken her off the rails a bit. So that's what I find was interesting. The boys, the hormone monster just makes them all just horny, gross little like perverts.
Yeah.
And yet the hormone monstresses, it's like the same thing, like yell at your parents, call them by their first name.
Yeah.
And
it's
cry.
It's more of the attitude. It's much more of the emotion aspect. Yeah. And it's great because it's showing the reality of things, I think, that girls you hit puberty and you just can't control your emotions. And I don't know if it ever goes away. And just the insanity that happens. And I find
there's
funny.
Something for you. I wonder if they would ever do a supplement series where like, the old and like the hormones are coming back or changing.
Menopause.
Yeah. Menopause monster.
Midlife crisis monster.
Right.
Yeah, like jump ahead, and just see how those changes are, because it's not like they go away. What they really represent is still just, all the different hormones in your body at all the times, and they're always affecting. And can you imagine pregnancy hormone monsters? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Now that's what I want to see. I want to see a spin-off of
everything all the years. So like it's a show that shouldn't end.
Yeah, exactly.
They should just grow old and
the changes, right? I mean, then you start having those battles between them. Yeah.
Really? But I'm still enjoying it. I want to be able to watch more. I think it'll be fun watch for sure, because it does such a good job of representation of all the things that are going on. So
anyways, now we can jump back into Christmas.
There we go. Jingle bells, jingle bells. We're back to the soft, sensual voices of Cup of Rad. I know there was not a break there, but I felt like it deserved a break. And now we're back.
Just imagine the commercial break.
Yeah.
Should have been there, but Cup of Rad benefit.
Juice.
Commercial.
In a cup.
Juice in a cup.
It might be alcoholic. Enjoy
with alcohol.
Now with alcohol.
Why else drink juice? I mean, come on. It's just empty calories without the alcohol.
I think we should start writing commercials.
I would like you to know that I am just in that mood to let like a quarter of a glass of wine affect me the way it is. It's just that's my mood.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Hashtag quarter cup of wine.
Mommy doesn't get drunk.
Not even a cup, actually.
She gets fun.
Quarter glass of wine is what I should say. Be proper about it. They are in really beautiful glasses. We have stemless Disney princess wine glasses, and they are my favorite. Mine is a Snow White one.
I'm Jasmine, baby.
Yeah, you are. So we looked through Netflix and we found,
because we promised you that we were going to try to find some romance, right?
It was really hard to try to put some of these on my.
So we had found a movie. It was called Feliz Navidad, and it talked about World War I, and the and I was confused. I was like, why is it called Feliz Navidad when it talks about
Feliz
World
Navidad, by the way?
That
Canadian.
Mommy doesn't get drunk. Mommy gets mean. So it talked about World War I and like the truce and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it was Feliz Navidad.
Yeah, and then it was
So we clicked on it because we were curious, and it was like this really bright soap opera.
It looked like a commercial.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, "Is this a movie or is this a commercial?"
And everyone was like super beautiful,
She was so
like fake beautiful, right? And it was just painful to watch. So, anyways, we found on Netflix.
So I cried and made them turn it off. So we tried to find some things that actually didn't look so cliche. And one of them, I was trying to like, okay, I'm curious. I'll look at the top like Hallmark Christmas movies, and a couple of them showed up on like multiple lists.
Yeah.
And one of them was Let It Snow. And I was like, wow, I actually recognize like real actors and actresses on this list. Like, that's a bonus. And it didn't look, it was with more of a group of teenagers rather than like just a stereotypical romance guy and girl type thing. And so we thought we'd try that one.
Yeah, Let It Snow. It's on Netflix. What is the story about even? I don't even remember.
Well, it's a Christmas Eve, and it's just the different...
Ned
like,
from Spider-Man's in it.
Yeah. And then we got
DJ,
Sabrina.
hashtag, money sign, something.
Yeah, he's trying to make a horrible DJ name. We got the actress who plays Sabrina.
Yep.
We also, the actress from, she was Santa Clarita Diet. She was in that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, and Miles Morales, the voice from, the guy that plays Miles Morales, he's in it.
Yeah.
So, not the game, but the movie Into the Spider-Verse, the best movie ever. He's in it.
I hope you've watched it.
He plays a pop star, actually.
Yeah.
So
it's all about them kind of different relationships that they have created. Yeah. There's like three or four different couple different couples, like friends and then like romantic things happening and all that idea of changing their view on Christmas.
Intertwining together.
Yeah.
It's like a Love Actually.
Yeah.
Or one of those ones that like those.
Yeah.
They all cross paths at some point.
They're all they know each other and all that sort of stuff, right? So, you know what, honestly, it was fluffy. It wasn't corny.
I laughed a few times.
Yeah, it was fun. It had some good heart to it. It wasn't incredibly predictable to the point where you're like, I know exactly what's going to happen and this is boring.
Yeah.
You know, it hit the same beats that you would expect a, kind of a teen romantic, comedy to really do. But it was fun. It was enjoyable. It wasn't like I didn't feel like I super wasted my time. On that note, though, it wasn't mind blowing, and I'm not like I'm adding it to my Christmas watch list.
Yeah, because
it was kind of forgettable. But
yeah, like it's coming back to me now. Now that I'm thinking about it, now it's like I'm having total recall back here. But yeah, there was. But
it was like the premise is all about the magic of snow and idea, because it's essentially what it is the snow that does happen is kind of impacting and changing their lives on how it, it stops a train, so then people get off the train, and then it causes a car to stall out and crash, so then it causes these people to meet up here, and it's all this chain of events and consequences, and how the magic of that and the magic of Christmas can bring people together in ways that you weren't expecting. Right? Look at that. It's so nice.
It was a nice.
It was good.
Nice little film.
I like it. I would recommend it. It was a good movie.
For a little watch, just sit back if you don't mind, watching some teenagers party.
Yeah.
At the end. Getting drunk. But yeah, no, it was just a cute film. Like it's definitely better quality than say like a Lifetime romance movie, by all means. Like
yes, it was well acted. It was well shot. It didn't look like a commercial or something.
Yeah. So Let It Snow. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original, so it's everywhere.
It'll be there, no problem.
Yeah, and you've probably seen it multiple times, and you just keep passing by, and then you're like, hey, maybe now a couple red says maybe I should check it out if I kind of want something light and fluffy.
There you go.
Hey, you know what? Maybe guys or ladies, your significant others sitting there and going, man, we've watched Die Hard. We've watched In the Spider-Verse. You got to give me something. So give them Let It Snow. So
Katie's saying, you should have watched Die Hard. You should have watched Into the Spider-Verse.
Because if your significant other doesn't watch Die Hard with you for Christmas, then you just got to, that's a deal breaker.
That needs to be done. But then you should also watch Let It Snow, because you know what? You got to play both sides there.
Yeah. So then I found movie that I wanted to see. It was called A Merry Friggin' Christmas.
And what can you not love about that title alone? You told me that, and I was like, sure, I'm in.
Yep. So it's Joe McHale,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Robin Williams.
I mean, it's a win-win.
And it is directed by, and I forget the dude's name, but it was directed by someone that directed some of the episodes of Community, and it was produced by the Russos. And this is one of the movies that came out after Robin Williams' death. So it was one of his last films.
Oh, okay.
So the whole story of that one is basically son and father are estranged after years of, neglect, torment, and all that from his father. He's gone off to create his own. He doesn't want to see his family. He's very firm, like true believer Christmas. Yes. Wants his kids to have the
He's trying to help out his young son who's wavering, and he wants to make sure that he never questions at all about Santa because his father didn't care about that at all.
And so his brother calls him up and is like, hey, guess what? My kid's going to be baptized, right?
Yeah.
And I need you to come here because it's happening on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And I'd love you to be there. So then he makes a trek with his family. And then...
So they're all going to stay at his
because it's too late to get a hotel.
Of course, it's last minute. And so then, he hasn't seen his father for a long time. And it's now we're all of a sudden all here and
slammed together and dealing with different rules and all that. And, is his name on the mailbox? My name's on the mailbox. He can't tell me I can't smoke. Yeah. So it's interesting because Robin Williams plays a very gruff, angry man.
Yes.
He's the man, right?
Yeah, and he's an alcoholic.
Yeah, has been for years.
Has been for his entire life, for the kids, for as long as can remember. And he's very gruff, very stubborn, very hard.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see him in that kind of role, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't cruel though, to a certain extent. It wasn't like he super mocked him or something like that. No. But at the same time, he was mocking their
sissy and
choices of with the food and those types of things. So it is that idea where it's like, how are they not eating sugar and all that sort of stuff, right? So
he feeds his son a squirrel because he doesn't eat red meat.
Yes.
So
he does kind of mock him on that, I guess. So never mind, I reneged that cruel aspect.
But it was a fun movie. Like it was pretty quirky. It was pretty weird. It's another one of those not your typical Christmas movies.
Yeah. Well, because they end up their journey there is Christmas present gets left at home. They're 8 hours away.
Yeah.
And the son's Christmas
or 4 hours away.
4 hours because it's an 8 hour trip. 4 hours away. And so he makes a last ditch effort to drive home and get said Christmas present. You know what I like with that though is that you kept waiting for him to just go ahead and take, have the dad offer to go with him at the beginning, and
he doesn't.
And I like that Joe McHale's character, he just goes. He's like, no, this is what's happening. I'm just going to go and do it. It's not like he's waiting around or anyone volunteers really to go with him. It's just like, this is what's happening, and so then how it makes more sense for their characters to come together more organically than something that would have seemed out of character, because it would have been weird for his dad to have volunteered to go with him right off the bat.
Yeah,
so.
There's a lot of laughs in it. There's a lot of humor. It's still a bit more of a dark comedy. Almost feel like it does have some heart in the end. And there was a lot of moments that felt more real.
Yeah, it felt like something that probably has happened many times.
Yeah.
And, and as adults, being able to see that side where you feel bad for McHale's character, because you see how he probably his childhood and how he feels jaded, but you also can empathize a little bit more with the parent, all the stuff they try to do and how you feel bad on how you never know that other side of how the parent is reacting or trying to do something. And how they kind of work things out, right? So
yeah, I would recommend it if you can find it. We found it on ABC Spark.
Yeah, it was recorded, which was awesome. It was standard definition horribleness.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't believe they still air non-HD things. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. So that was hard at first.
Yeah,
watching something so dark. Yeah, some of the shots were so dark, right?
But yeah, Merry Friggin' Christmas. It was was a pretty good time. It's pretty tame, so it's not like a R-rated Robin Williams feel or anything. It was like a sitcom, like a long sitcom with some dark undertones.
Yeah.
And the humor and all that. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Yeah. Some of the humor I liked was Mikhail's wife,
Lauren Graham.
Yeah, Lauren Graham. They stay back and they're trying to get through the night there with her mother-in-law there, and they end up Candice Bergman's the mom, and they end up drinking in the attic, trying to kind of do their own thing to try to help save Christmas, trying to find presents, right? And that was quite amusing because they just got trashed.
But she just got trashed. Well, his mother doesn't drink, right?
She did, yeah. But that was quite funny to see that. But it was nice because they had a good relationship too. Yeah. It wasn't... Because so many times in so many of those family problems, a lot of it ends up being the mom is... the mother-in-law is always bagged on, and that was kind of nice to see them getting along so well still.
Well, usually like the outsider is usually also like the outsider.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And it wasn't that at all. They were just totally comfortable and friendly together. Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. So if you can find it,
definitely check it out. So we got like 3 degrees of separation, whatever it is. We inadvertently watched another movie with Lauren Graham.
Yeah.
We watched Bad Santa because we were like trying to find something else to watch.
Well, we're running out of Christmas movies to watch without Kiddo.
Yeah.
Because now he can watch so many of the other ones.
And he's asking to watch. Like, he asked to watch Christmas Vacation. He asked to watch Elf. He asked to watch Krampus, right?
Right. I love the other day we said Christmas Vacation talking about it, and then he sang it as in Christmas Vacation. I was like, there's a little proud mom moment right there. Anyways, so Lauren Graham, finding kind of adult Christmas movies.
Yeah, so, it had been years since I watched Bad Santa.
Yeah.
And we were going to watch it last week, but then because we didn't want to miss out on your Bad Moms thing because it would have been gone, we decided to hold off on it. So we watched Bad Santa. Billy Bob Thornton plays a con man that goes to malls as Santa with his Tony Cox. He plays the little person in that as the elf.
So they're kind of a duo.
Yeah, and they rob malls. Without
condoning what they're doing, it's a pretty decent scam. I'm impressed.
Right?
I mean, they have a really good thing going on there.
Yeah.
So, but Billy Bob Thornton is a raging alcoholic.
Yeah, broken,
absolutely
drunk,
horrible.
And I read, too, that apparently they allowed him to drink on set. So some of the shots, he is actually drunk.
It's impressive.
So then you see that and you look at the movie and think of like, wow, like that would have been hard to work with, right? Like,
well, yeah. So was it just enough to give him that little bit of a glazed, relaxed stupor that he has? Because that would be a little hard to play without looking forced, right? But at some point, I mean, he still delivers his lines okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
the over 300 profanities that are in the film.
Oh my goodness. I couldn't believe how much swearing there is in this.
So I remember watching the movie, it was just one of those movies that was just hilarious.
Yeah.
And as I say, it's been years since I watched it. Watching it now, so this is like a full Radnesia. Watching now, it's not as funny as I remember.
I found it sad.
It's really sad. Like it's like the darkest of dark comedies.
Yeah. Like you still laugh, but you're like, wow, I feel horrible as a human being for laughing at his horrible predicament. Because even though he's a criminal, he is really broken.
Right.
And what's most sad is the kid.
Yeah.
Like I feel so bad for him.
Yeah. And he's a kid from Trick or Treat, right?
Yeah.
So.
But it was hard watching that. And you just, there's definitely humor in it for sure. But knowing what the kid's going through, with his mom dead and his dad in prison and his grandma is just
not
out there. And he's so lonely and so out of,
willing to take anyone home to be his friend.
Yeah, just so out of it. But
the realization that he knows that he's not Santa, but he's continuing the illusion in his head to make it okay that he brought him home.
Yes, right. Exactly. It just gives him an excuse to be okay with it. And I still enjoyed it. But the vulgarity of it got to me a little bit more, only because of the sadness of it.
Well, it's interesting too now, like being parents and then like seeing like how many kids they just like swore at, and
every single time he was sitting in front of children and swearing, I'm like, oh my god,
Right?
I would freak out. Like you feel so bad for all these kids and their Christmas Santa experience being completely obliterated. Not just like that was uncomfortable, but ruined.
Right?
You know?
Because like you think about that, even just like as them as actors, like they would have had that happen to them. And just be like, oh, don't worry, sweetie. He's just acting. Santa doesn't really hate you. And then he's just telling him, just fuck off, right? And you're just like...
Yeah. There's a whole group of traumatized children that came out of that movie.
Right? But, it's one of those ones where there is the uplifting message and he sees his way. And I still enjoy it. It's still a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's just now looking at it with a different lens.
A different lens, yeah.
And you're just like, wow, like... Damn.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting because I've never watched the sequel. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if I would want to.
No, because it ends on a note where it's a positive.
Because it has that Christmas positivity at the end.
Yeah, where he's learned something and he wants to change things and you think that the kid's going to be okay. Everything's going to be good. And then you see that he's back to bad ways. You're like, no, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah. So I don't know if we'll do the second one or not. I mean, we might if we just can't find anything to... That's the Vogel hilarity that we need to have each week.
Yeah.
The R-rated comedy, Christmas comedy. Because we're running out.
I know.
So I think next week we're going to do The Night Before.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. I love that movie.
Oh, I do too.
I'm very excited for it. It's such a good movie. So, but yeah, we are running out of things. So,
but Bad Santa, it's on Netflix, at least in Canada here. If you haven't seen it and you don't mind over 300 uses of profanity,
fly at it.
Yeah, it's a great film. It is. It's a great. It's like a weird slice of life, like of the depression of the holiday.
Yeah.
Like and what it creates, and like the expectations, and Bernie Mac's pretty funny in it. Right, and John Ritter.
Oh, yeah. It was released just after. It was after
2 months after
he passed, right? Because I saw his memorial thing was on the end of the credits there. So weird. Look at that. We got another one now another one released post-mortem.
Yeah.
Weird connections.
There's that should have been the episode title, Post-Mortem Christmas.
Oh, so sad.
But anyways, instead it's the Muppets.
Yeah. So now you're wondering, when are we getting to these Muppets?
You never would have thought you would have had all that going on before you got to some Muppets.
There was some intensity there beforehand.
So why the Muppets? Why the Muppets? Why did we do the Muppets this weekend?
Well, we were sitting down trying to look through our basket of Christmas movies and figuring out what we kind of want to do because we have limited times to work with kiddo watching movies, and he decided he glubbed onto Muppet movies that we have, and we were like, you know what? Let's just make a whole weekend out of it. Yep. So it was the weekend of Muppet Christmas movies.
So this is a family portion of the episode. So. Yep. So sorry for the
well, you got all your usual. You're like, okay, I got what I need out of this. Now this is just like bonus fluff fun stuff.
Well, now you can pour your second glass of wine.
You're like,
you had your first glass.
Where is my second glass of wine?
Well, we don't have more wine. I'd have to go get a beer. I don't know if we want to mix that. on a Sunday night.
So. No, you have to work and everything, right? So,
yeah.
So Muppets. We started out with Muppets Letter to Santa.
Yes, Muppets Letter to Santa. It was on ABC. Mm-hmm. It was a special, actually.
Yeah.
And it's the whole story that the Muppets are supposed to be taking some letters to the
they start off with the post office, and then they have a whole musical interlude at the post office and go into the back room, and it was so funny because Kid was like, they should not have been back there at all.
Yep.
It was quite funny, and you're like, oh, I want to enjoy the joy of it and the fun, and then you're like, no, it really wasn't right. Like, why were you back there? Like, that's not okay. But they were trying to point out how important the post office is, Mm-hmm. It still is. I hope more people down in the States recognize how important the U.S. Postal Service is. enough of that now. So then they come back home and they realize that they had forgotten a few letters. Gonzo has some, and he'd promised his neighbor that he would deliver these for Santa. And it is them trying to figure out how they are going to get these letters to Santa.
North Pole.
Because they are all going to be like Kermit and Miss Piggy are supposed to go to the Caribbean, and
everyone's
off on their own plans and going away, and they decide to put the importance and the holiday and the joy, bringing the joy to a child, as more of a priority than their own plans, and the hilarity ensues while they try to figure out how to get up to the North Pole. So
yeah, this is a lot simpler of a Muppet kind of special than all the other ones.
Yes, it's my least favorite out of the ones that we do.
Well, it's also the more kiddified of all of them. Like, it definitely is more. And this one was made with Disney, and
it is super kiddified. Actually, especially as you watch the other ones,
right? So and to see, like, you get a few, not many guest stars in it. Mm-hmm. The guy from Flash is in it before he was in Flash. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not the Flash. West, the father.
Yes,
the father dude.
The father, Iris's father.
Yeah, there you go. And then you got Uma Thurman.
Yes. Oh, Kiddo's face. Kiddo's face.
Oh, joy!
What? That was the best part. That was the most adult portion of the show. His face every time she came on screen. He blushed, and it was adorable.
And then you have Uncle Vernon playing Santa Claus. That's always been weird to me.
Oh, I didn't even recognize that.
Yeah. Oh. His big rosy cheeks.
Yeah. That
looks a little diseased.
What's funny is I looked at him and I was like, he seems familiar, and I don't know why. Okay, there we go. And then I can't remember
Mayor Bloomberg.
Oh yeah. But the blonde from 30 Rock.
Oh,
and Kimmy Schmidt.
Jane Kraken's. No.
Krakenstein.
Krasinski.
Yeah, I was going to say
there we
something
go.
like that.
Right?
Can you tell we're prepared for talking about this? I like it.
Yeah, like I was, and then just like totally just spaced.
Okay, on a complete side note right now, with all Christmas decorations, Mike's beard always has glitter in it now. And it's fabulous. Every single time I look at him, like right now, he's got some red glitter in his beard, and no one knows why.
That's how I roll.
And now we can proceed. Now that you know that he has a glitter beard.
But yeah, no, it's definitely more tame. It's not as, wacky.
Yeah.
It's definitely more of a straightforward one. It is my least favorite of all three of them that we own.
Yeah.
Or that we watched.
So, it's good. Kiddo enjoyed it. It was fun. But it doesn't really have that same heartwarming as the other ones that we will be speaking of.
So the main event out of all the ones that we have that is the quintessential Muppet Christmas movie is A Christmas Carol.
Yes.
A Muppet Christmas Carol, where Gonzo the weirdo plays Charles Dickens.
And Rizzo plays
himself.
Yes.
And we have Michael Caine coming in to play Ebenezer Scrooge. And when I was doing some reading, he had said he would only accept the role if he was allowed to play the role as if he was playing the role in a Shakespearean theater, never doing anything too gimmicky, winking at the camera, or anything Muppety. He was going to treat the Muppets like they were real actors.
Yeah.
And Brian Henson said, okay, apparently. And then that's how we got this movie.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite versions of it. I grew up with watching this one, of course, too. And I love it. I mean, it's so well done. I think it has a nice mix of light and, to me, a good amount of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
You had found the trivia that it actually is.
It is one of the darkest versions of A Christmas Carol. And because the fact that it was seen as a kid's movie, because the Muppets, they were like, oh, it's a kid's movie, but it doesn't go away from some of the harshness that is in the world of the Dickens world, including the fact that it's one of the few that actually shows Tiny Tim sick.
He has a cough.
Not just like, oh, he has a limp with a cane.
Mm-hmm.
He has a cough, and no other version shows that.
Yeah. And I mean, in reality, that's the danger of when you had a chronic cough back then. That was never a good sign. I know, back then. If you have a chronic cough now, apparently, so, the world always repeats itself. Right? But, the as you had pointed out, though, that his limp and the fact that the difficulty walking was most likely caused because he couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
That was more of a
I can't remember
worry,
if it was like
right?
pneumonia or it was like not iron lung.
You were saying iron lung.
Whatever made you sick back in Dickens' time that was yelling from all the coal they used.
Yes.
Which, Scrooge promptly at the end gave all his workers. He's like...
have buckets of lung disease. At least you're warm. But yeah, it was the darkness of that. And, one thing that actually clicked with me this time watching it was because I never, it's so funny is when I was growing up, like there was never any old versions of Christmas Carol. When I was growing up, it was Disney's Mickey Christmas Carol or the Muppets. And then there was a book. Did I ever know there was other versions of Christmas Carol made? No, I had no idea that there was like Alistair Sims or anything like that. And you had introduced me to that.
Yeah.
And I love that version now. And watching the Muppets now, I could see all the correlations with it. And you see how much more, how it really is based on the book then with those.
Yeah.
And the different scenes that they have, like at the end when they're selling all his stuff that after he died, and you could see those correlations between those movies. And I just like, for some reason, just now like got that connection, which was really weird. So I like that it has more, there's it gives still weight to his choices and his impact for things that he actually has, right? So
I think it is one of the better ones that is out there for how it is, because it gives you the dark and the lightness with the songs, and then the silly, especially when you're dealing with a family situation, to be able to show kids and all that. Yeah.
Because my favorite ghost is the Ghost of Christmas Present.
So that one, present, never mind.
Yes.
Past was actually filmed underwater.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how they get the floating?
On a green screen. And then they animated the glow and all that.
That's really cool. That one has always been weird to me because she was a little ghost girl and it was always impressive. So that's really cool to know then. But yeah, in the Ghost of Christmas Present, I love that Muppet there. And the sheer joy that he has is infectious with that. They do such a good job of portraying it. And Kiddo was asking about, his absent-mindedness and how old he was getting, and the fact of like, wow, there's only one of them that exists. And it's like, it is that concept though, that the past accumulates. It just keeps adding to it, right? But the present, we had our little philosophical moment there. It's like, well, but it shows how precious it is. It's fleeting. It's momentary, and then it is gone. Yeah. And the past always keeps adding. The present is always going away, and the future is dark and kind of scary, looming, right? And yeah, exactly, very looming. And I love their designs because they fit that feeling so well. It's not just a statement of the past, present, and future feel. It's that feeling of something is, and it's just such a great embodiment and visual of it, right? But he's just so happy, and he's so full of love.
I'm glad that they decided to go with original Muppets for those, because originally the script called for Miss Piggy to be the past, Scooter to be the present, and Gonzo to be the future.
Oh wow. Yeah, that would have been weird. Right? I can't imagine it like that.
So it's cool that they went with original Muppets to be able to then tell the story, and then the Muppets supplemented, right?
Yeah.
So like this movie was...
because then you didn't have any character personalities that were being pushed into those ghosts.
Yeah, right? Like say like Mickey's, where it was like you had Jiminy Cricket and you had, Pete and all that. I still like the Mickey's Christmas Pete.
Oh, Pete in the future.
I've always wanted to see that live action where, like, Scrooge is up there and he looks at his grave and, the richest man in the cemetery.
Yeah.
And then he's falling into the flames. I always thought that'd be cool to see
That's
that in
his
live
favorite
action.
scene of that entire movie.
Yeah. So, Devil Pete.
It's epic. Yes.
But the movie was so dark and stuff, and this is so had got a lot of like hits from like family groups and all that, so that when they made Treasure Island with Disney, that's why they dumbed it down more, and that's why it didn't do as well, I think.
Yeah.
Because like Christmas Carol is classic, like quintessential Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff just didn't hit the beats because they familied it down more.
Well, yeah, because it's still
like
classic
visions,
literature that
right?
would have been full of more harsh realities. And yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
They probably shied away from some of those darker beats then.
Yeah. Even though it did really well for them in theaters and it did awesome critically, but they didn't want to have those same like, my child was scared by your Muppet movie, right? Because I think a lot of times people do forget, the Muppets were based on art more than anything.
Yeah.
Like if you go back to those original Muppet shows, you see that it's not all kid friendly.
No.
And they experimented and they did.
No different than Mickey.
Yeah.
Right?
Truth.
Michael Caine did such a good job. His reaction during his experiences with the ghosts. I think one of my favorite looks that he has that's so full of emotion is when he is at their in the Christmas present and at the party with his uncle, his nephew, and they have their unwanted creature, and it's Ebenezer Scrooge, and his look on his face, because he's so excited, he wants to play the game, and you can tell that he actually cares about wanting to be around people. And he's not angry when he finds out what it is, but that sheer look of sadness on his face, and it's just, his heart just drops. And he does such a good job of portraying how horrible it would really feel in that situation.
Yeah.
But not putting up a barrier of just being able to see that and know that his reaction wouldn't affect them at all. And just how devastating that would be. And so he does such a good job because you feel so bad for him. But you kind of want to be like, see, this is how you make people feel,
Yeah.
And
I think that's one of
so
his
well
biggest
done.
turning points is seeing that, right?
Yeah.
And realizing that he's not wanted.
Well, and because he sees how his nephew acts around him, where he still comes around, he still shows up, he still tries, and it's someone who is supposed to be there and is loving and puts up this front, but he's just not wanted to be around. It's not that he's not choosing to not be around them now. He doesn't have that control. It's someone who's choosing to not be around him.
Yeah.
And it's just that scene really is poignant for sure.
Yeah.
So.
And how topical is the movie? Like Christmas Carol is like the most timely thing, and yet we never learn from it.
Right?
Like you listen to
there's so many versions of it.
Yeah. Well, you listen to the speech about, about how how dare you pick a man's pocket every December 25th and then be here all the earlier the next day, right?
Yeah.
And that's like every business out there.
Yeah.
When it comes to like the retail and the money and all that, and they're just like, fine, take off this day, but you're going to be in at 5 a.m. to stack that Boxing Day sale, right?
Well, and then how many Scrooges are there really in the world now? They're ones they're sitting there and all they worry about their money. They're not thinking about the people behind them.
Yep.
They're not thinking about their workers. They're not thinking about their customers and what's best for the world around them and the conditions they're working in, and looking out for people and healthcare and
throwing people out when it's like how you're spending past your means. Your houses are drafty and horrible. Why are we spending the money on these? I don't care. Pay it or get out.
Right. And so you look at that and you're like, wow, this is sad, because I want to have such a positive, we've learned from this, but how many decades has this, centuries feeling of this story being around?
Dickens from the 18?
Yeah. We've seen a visual aid of this for years, and it's a classic, and yet we aren't really learning from it. Ooh. And it shows, it's sad, but it's human nature to be in this. Money. See, Mr. Krabs, right? Who knew? But that's why the sad reality is this is why it's timeless, is because it's never going to go away. Yep. There will always be a Scrooge. There will always be a Tiny Tim. There will always be all these characters because
Nothing changes.
Nothing changes, which, is a very sad state of the world.
Yeah.
But there's always a Bob Cratchit, someone who is just happy to try to be there for his family and will just do whatever he needs to just get it done, and is positive and is loving and gets very little for return. And we just got to hope little by little, try to break the screws down and try to be positive.
Yeah, it's like a deep like moment.
It's deep. It's depressing.
Right?
Yeah. And on that note,
a very Merry Muppet Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's just switch because we went from like such a high on.
Oh wow.
Let's back to a little bit.
Yeah.
So there's a song that showed up not in theaters. It was called "Love Is Gone." It showed up on the soundtrack too, which is odd. From the Muppet Christmas Carol, and it's "Love Is Gone." And it was on the VHS, but it was pulled from theater because they thought it was too sad, right? And then they put it on the VHS release in the movie where it should be, right? And then after that, every other release, it was pulled again, right?
So weird.
So it's like this mystical thing. But on Disney Plus, it's supposed to be there on the extras. So,
and to me, now that, because I've seen that scene, and without it, it seems a little empty.
It's jarring.
Yeah.
Well, because basically
the song should be there.
Basically, what I've read and learned is that Henson was so angry that they decided to pull that song that he just chopped it.
So he didn't even smoothly make it.
No, they were just like, just chop it. And he's like, so then
they could deal with it.
Yeah, that was a thing, right? Okay. So that was more or less like kind of
because it doesn't give you,
because it came from the big wigs. It didn't come from. And it was just like, test audiences felt like extra sad from your song.
That's one of those ones where, I forgot growing up on Mickey's Christmas Carol how short it really was, and when looking back on that one, it gives a better sense of his past and his relationship with her than the Muppets one does. Yeah. She's such a flash in the pan for it, and that's because the song is gone. You don't see. Well,
and that was a weird thing because like I had the VHS, I remember that song, and then when we got like the Blu-ray and stuff like that,
where is it?
I was like, what the heck? Like I started tripping. I'm like, where did this song go?
I had never seen that song, and then when I see the VHS, I was like, oh, this is brand new, and this makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so. like, and we had the soundtrack.
Yeah,
and like
the song is there, and you're soundtrack. Like, "How am I? What happened here?" Right. Yeah. So, if you can, definitely go watch that scene if you haven't seen it already.
Yeah.
Because
the love is gone.
It makes so much more sense.
The love is gone, and that's all I remember about that Muppety song. Anyways, a very Muppet Christmas.
Yes.
Is what we watch next. It was actually on NBC when the
and this
Muppets...
one's full of guest stars.
Yes, it's a who's who of celebrities.
So when we were planning our Christmas watch movies, last year we had tried A Wonderful Life with Kiddo because he was interested in it.
He felt like he needed to see it because.
He felt like he needed to see it. That was a mistake because he about died of boredom. And then he was very polite about it last time, but then he pushed it this year, reminding me on how horribly boring it was and how
it felt like 4 hours.
4 hours later. And I was like, dude, it's okay. It's not really a kid-friendly movie. I get it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of adult stuff in it. It's a long movie. As an adult, it's a long movie.
True that.
So I get it. So we watched A Very Merry Muppet Christmas, and as we were watching it, I was like, holy crap, I forgot how much of It's a Wonderful Life it is. So we get to the end, and I was like, yeah, so we let Kiddo know, like, this is your version now of A Wonderful Life. And he's like, he looks at me. Yeah. And I tell him all these same beats. I was like, because this happens, this. And he's like, well, that's so much easier to understand. I was like, yeah, because it's a kid version. It's an hour less time.
Yep.
And it's a lot simpler. Oh, so I was like, this is what we'll stick with you for. So on that, it is a Muppets version of A Wonderful Life.
Basically, yeah.
So they have this big Christmas show planned, and they're purchasing the theater that they are performing in. And they had this deal with the original owner, and he apparently dies, and the lady that takes over the company is cold and unwavering and doesn't want to do anything to help them. And she speeds up the deadline of pay it or get out. And they're stressing about trying to figure out their show, and then they finally get the money, and they're trying to bring it to the bank, and lo and behold, money swap things, chaos ensues, and the money goes missing, and it shows up at the bank and doesn't have the money, and so then Kermit, of course, is completely just downtrodden and has given up, and
so then his guardian angel shows up and shows him what the world would be like if he wasn't born.
Yeah, because he very comedically yells at the guardian angel repeatedly how much he wishes he'd never been born.
Yep.
And so he sees, so you don't have that history of learning about his own growing up or anything. You just see the reaction to the current world and how his friends are all completely lost and
horrible lives.
They are like homeless and pickpocketers and
seedy telemarketer,
awful,
like
sadness.
Adult operators.
Yeah, and so one thing that was interesting, especially
Beaker
as we
got swole.
They were working at a nightclub. Beaker and Honeydew are bouncers at the nightclub, and they're just Scooter is a
dancer in a cage
with tight pleather pants on, like shorts. So yeah, none of them have a good life, honestly. I mean, they're all really, really bad. And the mall has taken over, killing nature one mall at a time.
Yep.
It's just like in Pottersville, right? Where everything is flashy and trashy and taken over from the beauty of and the simple life, right? And it was amazing, after, like we talked about with Letter Santa, very, very kid and silly. This one had many, oh my goodness, there's some adult commentary on things that was quite funny, for sure.
Yeah, Pepe and Joan Cusack, they had quite the thing going on.
Pepe is one of your favorite Muppets.
Well, the modern Muppets.
Yeah.
Out of the ones that came out of Muppets Tonight, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where he's
just
from.
So funny.
And, yeah.
But yeah, it's very, there was some incredible sexual innuendos involved with her character, and then with her assistant or whoever she had. Yeah,
there's lots of innuendos. Like it's just like it's some of them are like painful though.
Well, like they have a whole their Christmas show. They have the whole Moulin Rouge show.
Moulin Scrooge,
right? And it's just like, oh, this is interesting. Like, and yeah.
Well, there's some. This one has some better jokes than say Letters to Santa.
Yes,
but this one also has some painful cross marketing.
The NBC taking over of things.
Yes,
like the Scrubs
plug. Yeah, and the Grinch plug, and the Crocodile Hunter plug,
and the reality, the fear factor.
That one was funny though.
Oh, it was funny
because they actually were making fun of it, itself. Like saying like basically like without Kermit, almost 90% of television is reality TV.
Yeah.
And then it had Rizzo in a cage with this lady, and he's sitting there going, "You must confront a disease-ridden rat and then eat him."
It's just so horrible.
Right. But like they even like at one point Kermit lifts up his foot and he's got an NBC logo on his foot.
Well, yeah,
and it makes the sound.
The corporate cross everything has just become absolutely crazy and everything, right?
And you see the logo and it went ding 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 ding, peacock sound.
Yep.
So there was something like that that's like you kind of groan, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, oh, seriously, like.
So some of it was funny with that idea of mocking it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the weird cross for it.
The little plugs of what was hot that when it was made back in that day.
Yeah, so it's not going to age very well then because it has so much current events for things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
out of all of them,
I like Matthew Lillard's he played a French choreographer that had made a cirque show basically for it, and it was just so
Cirque
bizarre.
and
he was so happy because everything starts going wrong. He's like, I love the chaos. And Kermit's face is just like, holy crap, what is happening?
And then you get to see how truly avant-garde Gonzo is, because he's just like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Right.
But it's fun, though. I don't know where we have that on I was going to say VHS.
VHS, what?
No, we don't have that on VHS. We have that on DVD.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's going to be found, because I don't know if it's available anywhere.
Yeah.
So you might be able to find it on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, there is actually the Muppet Family Christmas. Some really bad ones, because it was from like 87.
So it's like recorded
VHS quality on YouTube. We didn't watch that one, but we might try.
Yeah.
And then there's also the John Denver Muppet one on there as well.
I remember those.
So there's tons of Muppet Christmases.
There's some childhood amnesia going back for me, like things I forgot about as my childhood.
Right? Like, it's just, the Muppets have been around forever, and they are funny. Like, it's good humor and good just everything.
Mm-hmm.
Even at their worst, they're still fun.
Yeah.
Like, they are a great tool for entertainment.
I think this here really showed then the importance, and I know one of the key factors that you love about them is them making a family out of a bunch of weirdos. Right, and misfits and coming together, right?
Yeah,
and the
idea of making your own family. You're not stuck with who you have. It's
And I think with him seeing the fact that they were all, apart. I mean, one of the things he saw too was Doc Hopper was around. So it had other events from their history that he wasn't there to fix.
Yeah,
and to show them they never came together, they never found each other, they never found that family, and how broken they were for it, and everyone was so much worse for wear, and to see that, I think that's such a great heart of the Muppets, is this group of people that go together and they argue all the time, and they freak out at each other, but they always still come back to it.
Yeah,
and I think that's one of the timeless aspects for them, right? So.
Exactly. Who's your favorite Muppet?
Oh, that's hard. I don't know. Never thought about that, actually. I mean, I like Kermit only because he's so full of positive, but at the same time he's so reality, because he can be so anxious and anxiety ridden and so over the top crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know. I've never really thought about that. I'll get back to you on it. Honestly, I've always loved like Beaker. I don't know why. Maybe it's the science aspect with the Professor Honeydew and Beaker.
That's funny.
That could be it. But I've always loved them. I think he's just funny with the way he acts, and like his head goes into his body. I thought that was always funny. So like super simple, right? But
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So there you go.
Nice.
I think that's everything.
Here's a fun fact for you, though. When I was in school in California many years ago, when I was doing puppeteering, and I did the puppeteering for the Little Shop of Horrors show that I was in, I actually had a chance, and it's one of my bigger regrets being able to stay down there, because I could have actually gone to Henson, because the one co-director of the Little Shop of Horrors play that I was in wanted to take me up there and talk to some people.
It's just heartbreaking to know this,
right? Because she was so impressed with it, and she knew a bunch of people, and it was like, that idea, because they ran a college program as well. So when it wasn't like a job so much, but it was to be part of their, like, possibly to be part of their college. Yeah, their
So Mike could have been a performer with the Muppets.
Yeah,
but instead he's here on Cup of Rad.
Yep. Yep. In your ear holes. It's one of those ones where you think about it, you're like, damn, missed opportunities, right? Like,
yeah.
So, but that's why we always have the Muppets, and we always get to watch them, because there's so many movies. You realize that there is so many. There's like, 4 or 5 ones with TriStar. I don't know. The one that Sony has. And then you get like the 2 Disney ones, and then you get like the 4 Disney. Right.
Well, even, like looking up at YouTube, the Family Christmas and the John Denver specials and all that sort of stuff. And it was like, that's the stuff I remembered all the time. Yeah. And I'd forgotten about it because you don't see them out and about. You know, they aren't the movies that you have on DVD anymore. You're like, oh yeah, the stuff that would have been found on TV, you know? And yeah, it's weird to think about that, right?
There's so much. So
yeah. There you go. It's another Christmas.
So there you go. A whole bunch of more Christmas schmozzle for your ears. Something to go look for. Out of everything we talked about today, what would be one that you would say people should watch?
Well, out of all of them, my favorite is Muppet Christmas Carol.
Fair enough.
Because it's the most Christmassy, and I think the best message overall that needs to be had. Yeah. And
we're looking at you, Ebenezer Scrooges.
Yeah.
You know who you at.
Top notch right there. I mean, good acting on everyone. Muppets involved too, you know? Like that's definitely my favorite. So
nice.
What about you?
Probably the Muppets, but if we're not talking about the Muppet, the Muppets Christmas Carol. But other than that, I would probably say Merry Friggin' Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, because that one was pretty funny.
Yeah. Most, overall entertaining for sure. So.
Totally.
I agree. So yeah, there you go. You got a few more Christmas ideas for movies. If you hadn't thought about them already.
And if you hadn't listened to our other Christmas episodes, go back and check out the other ones because we're still coming at you. There's going to be at least a couple more Christmas episodes before we change to something else.
To something else.
Well, after Christmas, it can't be Christmassy anymore.
Well, it shouldn't be Christmassy anymore.
Well, you know what we'll be looking forward to is actually in the new year there will be, of course, Wonder Woman.
Yes.
84, Wonder Woman 84. We're going to hold off.
I am very much looking forward to that. So.
Yeah. And we've held off this long to watch Mulan.
So we're going to hang out. That'll be a January one as well. So we kind of
we'll actually have some newer and then Soul as well. So that first episode after Christmas might be a
big blockbuster one, man.
Might be some newer.
But until then. But wait.
There's more.
First off, we have
Christmas.
More Christmas.
A couple more episodes. It'll be fun. It'll be great. We really appreciate it because we've had some of our biggest downloads in a while.
Yeah,
so thank you to everyone that's new and old. I'm glad that you're here for this journey into the cup of raddom.
Christmas radness.
Yeah.
Woo!
So, stay safe out there. Be kind. Be nice.
Be nice.
Be nice to everybody, not just yourself.
Yeah.
But be nice to yourself, too. Hey, take care of yourself once in a while. Walk yourself.
Mike made cookies. It was wonderful. So go stay home and make cookies.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
There you go. Everyone
Christmas
wins.
Baking.
Right? Good stuff.
Make some Christmas bars or treats and get some eggnog and watch a Christmas movie.
I get to break out my coconut eggnog. I'm so happy.
Have some fun with that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, everybody. Stay rad.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes!